what is your expectation from this session? Why are you here basically? Anyone? What are you looking for from this session? Any takeaways? What you want to know? You want to know about, learn about DevOps or cloud, open source? Anyone? Cool, then I'll share my agenda and you see if it aligns with what you are looking for. So what we are going to discuss is brief about the so-called DevOps. It's a buzzword in the industry, right? So what is this all about? What is the benefit of using DevOps, or if organizations adopt DevOps, how are they going to benefit? Then there are different stages for DevOps. So we are going to just go through them. And for me, the key thing is the people who are working into open source, there are a lot of DevOps and WordPress themes which are open source available, free themes. So I would like to share from a DevOps pipeline what are some of the commonly used softwares which are available open source where you don't have to pay. So this is what I'm going to cover in my couple of slides. So does that align with your theme? No energy. I think it was a tea break, right? People are back from tea, snacks, coffee. Cool. So let's start about DevOps. But before I proceed, this is something which is like recent shift in the software paradigm, right? DevOps is what? Some buzzword that has been there around 4 to 5 years. Before that, we have a typical SDLC model where you used to follow the agile model, big release cycles, complex codes, one monolithic software. Now we have microservices, automation, everything. So how was the pre-DevOps era? So basically, we used to have a software team or a developer. So this is a typical software developer. Yeah. He used to do a lot of coding. He's a nerd guy. Nothing else in his life. It's all about code and work. And he used to code. Once the code is done, and you have your bundled software app ready, that's the tower of war fight for deployment. The management says, yes, we are good to go. Yes? So this was one side of it when we talk about DevOps. We saw the developer. There's another type to it, that's the ops, which we typically used to call as system admins. So what was the feeling of system admins and his team when the developer is doing his job? I think something similar to this. They used to pray because they are not sure what the developer is doing, but he's going to deploy this into their production. If something breaks, it's going to be a headache for the the system admins. Now they are called DevOps, but yeah, they are system admins. They know nothing about the code part. No offense, any system admin here, but then yeah. They didn't know about the code part, what went wrong, but it's their bucket to fix it, how to do it. Now the management tells you, if everything is all ready, we have tested the QA, UAT, everything is all done, let's do a deployment, right? What possibly could go wrong? Does deployment go wrong? No. We have all tested, we have tested all scenarios, corner cases, everything is all covered. Nothing could go wrong. We do a deployment. But normally this is a scenario that I have seen in my career. Most of the times deployments used to go wrong due to some other reason. It's not always because of the code. Could be buggy code, infrastructure, third-party softwares. Nowadays we use tools like Docker, so third-party Docker images, vulnerabilities over there. So it could be anything, and you're not sure. But deployment goes for a toss. So this is where DevOps comes to your rescue nowadays. I have to keep a tab of time also, yes. So just have 25 minutes to cover all those things. So when deployment fails, there is a never-ending fight between dev and the ops. It's the blame game that we normally know, right? It was your fault, and yeah, it continues. No one is ready to accept their mistake or the fault. So this was a typical scenario. Most of the developers or the people who are from a developing background, they will associate with this. It used to run on my machine, but didn't work in a production environment. I'm not too sure what went wrong, right? It's a common use case. I think Docker solves that problem to a certain extent. That if it runs on your machine and any machine that supports Docker, it should run on Docker, on that machine also. But this was a typical scenario. Everything is on fire, and you're like, okay, what can I do? It was not my mistake. comes to rescue as a superhero. So I will not deep dive basically into what all DevOps is all about, but just try to cover the essence of it. What is typically a DevOps life cycle? What are typical tools which are required? And what are the open source options which are available? So with DevOps, there are different definitions. Different people say it differently. Some say it's all about tool. Some people say it's all about culture. Some people say it's all about developers getting smarter with automation. Other people say system admin should be more smarter to understand code. So if you see from a larger perspective, each one has their own definition. So it's something like this. The confusion is there. So everyone has their own definition of DevOps. It's a feature, it's a culture, it's infrastructure as a code, it's collaboration between teams, it's all about automation. So yes, from my viewpoint, I think DevOps is all about this. It's not one single thing, it's not only culture, it's not only collaboration, it's not only automation, it's not CI/CD, it's not Puppet, Ansible, Chef, Terraform, AWS. This is an end-to-end implementation. And that's where we talk about DevOps life cycle. There are different life stages associated with the life cycle which we will go. And then for each stage or life cycle, we will see what are the alternate open source options available for you. So benefits of DevOps, if you see at a high level, you have fewer failures, better experiences, faster updates, faster deployments. If you are able to catch up errors at a high level or initial levels, that is the left shift principle that we follow. So definitely more reliable production, right? Shorter dev cycles, lower risk, efficiency, those are some of the benefits which I've covered I think later on. So this is a CIO Insight data that I got. I think this is a bit 1 year old, 2018 data. So the benefits for organizations that have implemented DevOps is kind of underlined. So increased frequency of software deployment, 53%. So more than 53% or 50% organizations feel their frequency of software deployment has increased or improved. Correct? Increased collaboration, 48%. New software services, 35%. A reduction in spending, cost cutting. So 46%, that's a good number over there. So why do you feel a reduction in spending? Any answers? How do you save on money? Anyone from a management, higher management, who is all about money, saving and those things, they should have an answer, right? Yeah.
Yes. So normally, if we are deploying a manual test, we can only treat it in a big enterprise type of operation. Obviously, we have around more than 10 streams or 100 streams, something like that. When a deployment comes in, then all the streams will be very easy to manage. But if we implement CICD, like
CICD or automation.
So in our company, we found that CICD is helping us to reduce a lot of operations.
That's true. So I think we are talking more from a CD perspective, but if we talk about each life cycle, so be it monitoring, be it logging, if you have proper automation in place and tools in place, definitely there is a manual reduction, right? So you reduce on manpower and reduce on failures. Your mean time to failure reduces and you are able to catch it up early. So your delivery time increases, your cost increases basically. So we saw some of the benefits of DevOps, right? So this slide is basically just a revision of those things. What are the benefits of adopting DevOps? Be it from a cost perspective or automation perspective, those are the ones. Bringing down silos. And this is one of the important things. What was happening before the DevOps era was, there was a dev team, there's a QA team, and there's a separate system admin team, which are completely unaware of the entire software, end-to-end. There was a silo. Silo means you have your own empty space. And DevOps helps to break that silo. So a group of DevOps engineers are basically interacting with your developers as well as your QA engineers, as well as your deployment teams, and your production engineers or your system admins. So that silo was always the issue. No one knows about what the other team is doing. With the advent of DevOps, this thing is kind of broken, and which was necessary. And this is where we talk about DevOps as a culture, breaking the silos. Faster deployment cycle, obviously, with tools like CI/CD implementation, Jenkins, and those kind of things. Earlier deployment cycles, if you go with the data, deployment used to happen once a month or twice a month. That was the kind of ratio that we had, and it was a big bang event. Entire teams used to prepare. It used to be a big festival. Everyone is at the system, and it's like deployment is happening. We have to be there. Now with coming of CD, what Sir mentioned, right, continuous delivery. Every now and then, every hour, companies like Twitter, Facebook, Flipkart, those are doing continuous deployments and deliveries. Different features, different teams, back end, front end, things are changing per minute. So thousands of deployments per minute is happening, but we don't feel it. So that is with the use of technologies like DevOps or automation. Increased collaboration between teams. So yes, as the silos broke down, there was a better collaboration among different teams and team members, which basically led to more productivity in terms of organizational output. So organization as a whole is performing better because each team is integrated and talking to each other. They know what is happening across the teams. Reduce time to market. So makes sense. Your product, which used to take, like if there is a deployment that is happening once a month, different teams have to do different deployments. So it will take a couple of months to bring the product to market. If you have different deployments happening like at a rate of 10 deployments a day, within a week you are ready to go with your product. So that explains the reduced time to market. So product from MVP phase to final customer service is all that time cycle is reduced. Stable production environments. So with the advent of tools like the monitoring tools and logging tools that we will look into, you are able to catch up issues, production issues much faster. There is an alerting mechanism which alerts you as soon as there is a break in the production environment. There is a PagerDuty alert, there is a Slack alert, teams who are responsible, they take corresponding action and they fix it immediately. Instead of like someone in US who will wake up at his hour, at different time zone, right? And then he will look into the issue, he will fix it up or inform the Indian team and then Indian team will do it next day. So because there is a delay of 24 hours. So that is again stable production environments where you are easily able to identify bugs and fix them at a much faster pace. Since you are able to identify bugs and issues at a faster level and fix them early, your quality of software is also improved. The final product that you get is much more improved than the initial one. And better utilization of resources. This is both with respect to your hardware and manpower. So in terms of manpower, the people who are working the dev, the QA, they are all properly utilized effectively, and also your hardware. You are not misusing or misconfiguring your hardware. So that was all about DevOps at a high level. And I said we will talk about different stages of DevOps or life cycle of DevOps. So before I share, the slide talks about it, but I would like to know from you people, what are the stages you know or what are the stages you follow in your life cycle? Some of the stages that you know are aware. I saw a couple of sessions where people are talking about certain stages. Anything? Come on, where are WordPress developers, right? You do a lot of development, you work in organizations, they have their own agenda and process. So what process do you follow? And it's there on the slides. So even if you can read, if you're smart, you can read and tell them. Cool. Then I'll proceed. I don't know, but why I see this kind of response many a times. People do feel shy of like raising hands and talking. It shouldn't be like one-sided session where like I'm doing all the talking and you're just taking it. It's not a university lessons and all, right? I'm just here to finish off the lesson. I just want to give you something that you want. We have time for Q&A at the end, but in case you have some doubts, I would love to take them now also. But yeah, let's proceed. So if you talk about high-level DevOps lifecycle, so what happens is you have a developer who does his development. So that's a development lifecycle, and you have certain tools like Git, SVN, and those kind of things which helps in source code management, right? That moves to the next level where you have Jenkins, which is the CI/CD pipeline. And depending upon how tightly coupled is a Jenkins pipeline, you can do a lot of stuff with Jenkins and similar tools. Automated testing, integration testing, if you are using something like Docker, security scanning, You can have Saurabh to check code quality and a lot of other things. If everything passes through Jenkins, you get a final build. And this build says that it is ready to be deployed because you have a lot of code and tested and everything inside the Jenkins pipeline. So that's the second, CI/CD pipeline is the second part. You do deployment through automation tools. If you have already achieved automation, something like Ansible, Terraform, that's the third level where you deploy, right? After deployment, you need to monitor whether things went fine or there is a red flag. So definitely there is a monitoring solution. That's another life cycle. Apart from monitoring, you also do logging and alerting. So alert systems which tell you that there is an issue with the system. And finally, there is an SRE or a separate team which takes a corresponding action how to resolve that issue. So those are certain, at a high level, certain life cycles which we will see. So, as I said, it starts with continuous development, continuous integration, followed by testing, and then you deploy. So that's continuous deployment. So yeah, CI and CD there. Continuous monitoring, continuous logging. Feedback is a alerting thing where you take feedback from the system or your users and take a corresponding action on it. And continuous operations. So that's an operation team which basically resolves your production issues or those kind of bugs, which takes a final call on it. So we have covered a lot of things. I have been talking a lot about DevOps, not mentioned a single word about WordPress and those things, which is the theme for today. And I see a couple of people here with different facial expressions. So someone who is feeling like this. Anyone? For people who are sitting at the back, this guy says, I have no idea what's going on here. And at this point, I'm too afraid to ask because we are halfway through the presentation. If I ask, it's going to be like too shameful. So anyone with a similar feeling? See, I like audiences like this. It means two things. Either you're too smart, that you understood everything, or it's like, I'm too smart, I couldn't make it explain. So it's either like all gone or all gone case. But I hope no one is like this. So what happened once is, I just had a similar presentation. I was talking, I had a much larger audience at that point of time. And when I asked about this kind of feeling, like someone feeling like this, I don't know what people understood out of it. I saw a couple of hands going up and I was like shocked. What the hell? It was like a 45-minute presentation. After 25 minutes, people are telling you that they can relate to this. I was like, really? And then I checked with a couple of them who have raised their hands. That, do you really feel like this? No, we thought that we were asking who didn't feel. I said, okay, I just rephrase my question and then again check with them. Do you feel that whatever I'm asking, like I've been sharing throughout right now, makes sense? Yes, we understood what you're talking about. Yeah, you got the point. So since I didn't see any answer, this side I think audience is pretty smart. It's not only WordPress developers, but then yeah, much more mature than WordPress people. So yeah, we go to the life cycle of DevOps, different stages. Cool, I think that's kind of skipped because of the time thing. So now what we're going to talk about is open source basically. I had in-depth for the CI/CD and those things, but that takes much more time, at least 10 more minutes, which we don't have. So I think I'm kind of skipped, and now what we are moving to is open source. So since this was about DevOps and open source, marriage made in heaven. A lot of you, when I interacted over lunch and tea and coffee breaks, people told me we are from like small startups. And when you're coming from a small startup or working with a small startup, you won't have bigger pockets, right? Money is a big issue. So definitely enterprise level software doesn't make much of a sense. They come with a cost. So bigger companies like the MNCs and all, they can afford to pay and they have associations and partnerships. What about a typical startup? We look for free and cheap versions available wherever. So this is a paid version. What is alternative free open source available in the market? If we find something, we will implement it. So let's talk about that. Why choose an open source thing? So basically, benefits of open source tools. This is something which I would like to come from you people. This is not related to DevOps. DevOps, I understand, might not be a forte, but then yeah, open source is common thing. All WordPress developers use free community work, yes, I understand, but then how do you see that community work? What is the benefit for you?
Missions. So that's the way basically we can get the benefits of the open source tools.
Correct. So I take that as a bigger community means a bigger support. When you have enterprise level solutions, you pay for the support. But when you have an open source community, you have a bigger team to support you globally, right? Without any cost. So we will cover those points, but yeah, what else? I think those are the things which are already there on the slide, so I'll just revise them for you. What are the points for open source? Come on guys at the back. There is a lady who's trying to take a pic. I'm not sure if she's trying to take a pic of mine, or if she's chatting with the boyfriend and with the camera on. Was it mine pic that we're trying to take, or the slide? Or was it like a... Okay, yeah. Cool. And the benefits, yeah. I don't understand. Better quality code, yes. That's a valid point, yes. Better quality, better security, because if it's coming from a community which has a lot more smart people, smart developers across the globe, so definitely you can talk about security also, but it's a both-sided sword. Sometimes we talk about open source and vulnerable software, but this time we will take the positive side of it. You can assume the software is used by millions of people, mostly. But yeah, let's cover those quickly. So lower software cost, that's what my friend said. It's all free. So definitely no cost involved over here. Most of the times, it's an open source version. Try it. If it works for your use case, use it. There is no foundation, there is no licensing fee and all those things. No hassles attached. No vendor locking. And that's an important point. Yeah. Okay, cool. No vendor lock-in, as in when you go for a proprietary software, you are dependent on that particular vendor to support your third-party services and requirement, right? In case in future there is a time or need where you want to move out, your entire code is coupled along that third-party thing, and it becomes difficult to move out of that particular vendor. So that vendor lock-in thing is there with a licensed version or non-open source software. But in open source, that is not the case. You have multiple other options where you don't have to pay. So it's all free. You design your architecture in such a way that in case if needed, you can always move or opt out of it. So I think this was again covered. Greater community support, which is free. So yeah, big community which is there, and they give you the support, which is all free. Greater flexibility for customization. Since it's open source, you can do all sorts of things on top of it. Add your own wrapper, add your own customizations. No one stops you. Which is not the case with the proprietary software. It comes with certain ifs and buts. This is the amount that you pay and this is what you get. You don't have a customization option on top of it. You might get customized softwares, but then you have to extra pay for that. You cannot do it on your own because they will not share the code to you. They'll do it at their end for you as a customer customization experience. This is not the case with open source. It's all open source, it's all free. You can add your own customizations on top of this. Simple license management, that's pretty simple and clear. There's no license to manage for different users, right? It's all free. So that headache is all gone. You don't have to think about when to renew the licenses, how much to pay. This year we pay 200 users, next year do we need that, don't need that. Those all hassles are all gone. And easy to audit. So it's an open source community. It's easier to audit open source software than a proprietary software. You have a lot of limitations over it. So those are some of the top open source tools that have benefits, and not only for like when I'm coming from a DevOps background, it's not only for DevOps or any particular domain. This applies to all. What are the generic benefits of an open source tool? Why should we use it or why should we promote it? And now, when we talked about life cycle of DevOps, we talked about CI/CD and different stages, right? For each stage, we will see what are the open source tools available. So DevOps and open source tools. We started with development and I talked about Git and other options. So let's see. So that's something we call as SCM, source code management. So there's Git, SVM, Mercurial, CVS, many more. I mean, these are the ones which I found interesting and they were on top of my mind. So this is not an exhaustive list. There are many more which are available and you can find something suitable to your case. So that includes your source code management. Next is the CI/CD. Okay, before CI/CD, I think there's a configuration management concept. So Puppet Shell have been there for some time. There's something called Ansible. There's Juju. There's Salt Stack, and then CF Engine, and many more. But I think these are the ones which are prominently used in the market in terms of configuration management solutions. CI/CD, I think for CI/CD DevOps, Jenkins is the standard. Most of the people use it. I have used something called Buildkite, which was also as efficient as Jenkins. In certain ways, a better flexible option than Jenkins. Buildbot, Cruise Control, Travis CI, these are some of the open source that are available for your option. Just, I'll go through 2 more slides and that's it, I think I'm done. So this is for your monitoring solutions. Nagios, Sigma, Prometheus, Sensu, Monet. If you want, you can take a picture. I'm just running short on time. These are some of the logging tools which are open source solutions. Graylog, Logstash, 4D, Logstash, Travis CI. And from security, I think that's the last one. Some security solutions on it. That's not good. No internet. But didn't have much basically after that. So there were a couple of security solutions that were available. So if you want, I'm available outside. You can always come back and talk to me in case there is a requirement on DevOps, cloud, automation, something that you want to consult or know. If you're trying to implement those solutions within your company. So I don't have an offline copy of this one. Yeah. But cool guys, thanks for having me here. And it was nice having and interacting with all of you. Hope there is some kind of a takeaway from this session. If you are not aware of DevOps, at least now you have some clarity. In case you knew what is DevOps all about, you have some maturity about it, at least in terms of life cycle and some tools.